going to. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dr. Vita Show. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. I want you to like, I want you to subscribe, and I want you to share. Today, I have a treat for you. This is a long time coming. Dr. LuLu is here. I am so happy to have her. Let me tell you about her. Dr. Lulu Shimek is a naturopathic physician and expert in genetic health, working with patients experiencing chronic disease, hormonal imbalance, endocrine disorders, gastrointestinal dysfunction, depression, anxiety, and fatigue. She believes that once we dive deep down to the root of the problem of the distortion and ignite our body's innate ability to heal, we see unimaginable changes in our well-being. Dr. Lulu, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Vita, for having me. I'm thrilled, like you said, to finally connect. We got it together, didn't we?
Yes, I finally got it together. So tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a naturopathic physician. And like you said, I love to work with hormones, women's health, and that's really kind of my passion. But interweave the genetic component. And I'd love to talk to you today more about kind of like what that looks like for people that want to know more. But, really it's all about igniting that cellular optimization, right? And if we can have every system and every cell working at full function, then we can have a happy, healthy body.
Okay, so where are you located, Dr. Lulu?
So I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, on the East Coast in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And I had a larger clinic, around 18 practitioners, but I closed it due to COVID. And now I'm just practicing solo online, seeing patients via telemedicine. I'm also the plant medicine director at a local farm called the Veterans Healing Farm, where I see veterans for health at the community clinic there. And I also run the botanical garden where I work with herbs, and one of my biggest passions working with plants.
Okay, when I was reading your bio, I thought it was so interesting that you studied interior design.
Totally, right? Yes.
You go from that kind of lifestyle of interior design, and then now you are just a herbal formulator and you're big in genetics and health.
Right. Yeah. Well, the science and the art brain kind of like mingle, right, back and forth. And I still love the art. But I think that was kind of my passion for like letting that creative side of myself really like shine through. And so as I move forward, I just have this huge passion for nutrition. So I started working with food and diving deeper into yoga and meditation. And it just kind of like snowballed into this massive amount of really wanting to help people with health. But I also still use the creative aspect, like gratitude journals and helping people draw to create this like balance of health within themselves. So yeah, the interior design part is probably that foundation that I create with my patients, helping to see the inside of what's going on with them.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so tell us about how you use herbs in your practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how I use herbs is with my knowledge of plant medicine, I customize formulas based on, I use kind of I look at the cellular optimization, what's going on with their genetics and their DNA, what system is out of balance. And then I also use it like energetic checking or kinesiology. So I make this customized formula that has this wonderful blend of herbs that is unique for that specific individual. So my patients really love that because they're getting something like completely designed for them that then, and we're checking all the time. I believe you shouldn't be taking the same herb, for the rest of your life. Your body needs something different. So we're changing things up to help them to be in complete alignment with their health.
Okay. And so let's touch more on the genetics component. So how do you figure out, so if somebody wants to work with Dr. Lulu, how do you figure out what's going on with their genetics? What kind of testing do you do?
Yeah, so we do a full saliva test of the genetic component. So you do a simple, easy test, you do a swab and you send it off, and then you get the raw data back, or I get the raw data back. And then from there, I create all these different panels. So say someone is coming into me with fatigue, hormonal disruption or imbalance, insomnia. So I create these different panels where we're looking at different aspects of the system that are out of alignment. Let's say someone's having problems with methylation, right? So they're having problems with the actual like B vitamins. Well, let's look at the propensity of how that's affecting their current state of fatigue. How's their body processing specific vitamins and minerals? What's their energy component. How are they handling stress? How are they handling anxiety? What fitness is best for them? What diet component is best? So patients it's like this individualized component of really what's going on inside their system. Because, the genetics are complicated, but we can break it down into a simple formula as well.
Interesting. Okay. So, what are some of your favorite herbs to use in your practice?
That's a great question. I love working with, let's talk about the plants I have at the farm, because that's like where I can see them in my mind the most. Tulsi is one of my favorites. I just love which is also like, I'm always formulating something that tastes good for patients, because you like the way it tastes, you're going to want to take it. Right. So Tulsi is I love the adaptogenic quality where it helps people adapt to stress. I love the immune component. I love the taste of it. I love the smell of it. So Tulsi is one of my favorites. I also really love lemon balm. So lemon balm, really easy to grow in your yard. Both of those are really easy to grow. Lemon balm has this great emotional component. It helps open up the fifth chakra, helps us communicate, great for meetings. It's a nervine. It helps us relax. It also helps with viruses. So really great for like herpes simplex virus. So both of those together also make a great combination, really helping to uplift the mood, helping to support the system in stress. So I use those tons with my patients. So just two of my faves. I don't want to have a favorite herb, but those would be two.
So, what form do you typically give to your patients to take herbs in?
Yeah, usually I'm using a tincture form, because I like the one, it's going right into the system in that liquid. It doesn't have to go through the gut to break down. And almost all my patients have something going on in the gut. It's like everything starts in the gut, right?
Right.
And then also I like glycerites a lot, because not all my patients want to have that form of alcohol, or I'll mix together a combination of tincture and the glycerite together. So those are my two forms. If a patient is not wanting to take either one of those, then I'll come back into a like powder or pill form. But that's kind of like my last resort, because they're really, the plant is really broken down and adulterated in that form. It has to be dried, it has to be processed. It's not as true in its form and energy.
Yeah, I love tinctures and infusions. I love
Mm-hmm.
infusions as well.
Yeah, me too. So good.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a podcast called The Genetic Genius. I can't wait to be on it. I'm going to be on it. So
Yay!
tell us about The Genetic Genius.
Yeah, so I created the Genetic Genius for two reasons. One is I wanted to create something that could go worldwide for people to access alternative health in a different way, right? They don't have to pay for it. It's free. They can learn, they can tune in and find about things all around the world to help them live a better life. And then the other part of it is I wanted to create something that was kind of like a alternative, off the scene, off the planet, like something that is really taking different types of alternative medicine that people don't know about, right? Like I do have specific doctors on related to specific conditions, but also have people talking about different supplements or different energy medicine, different things that are way out of the box. And of course, there's a genetic component. So I'm helping people listen and learn about genetics through the different guests that I have on. And I'm going to be starting season 3 in January, which I'm super stoked about.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So you've got this amazing podcast, but you also have a book. I want to know more about your book. It's called Detox, Nourish, Activate, Plant and Vibrational and Medicine for Energy, Mood, and Love.
Yeah, here's what it looks like.
Oh, look at that cover. I love it.
Yeah, it's my baby. Yeah. So the Detox, Nourish, Activate, we'll break it down. So that's DNA, the first 3 letters. So it's all about DNA. And then plant and vibrational medicine. So it's all about herbal medicine, aromatherapy, meditations, intentions, crystals. So it has 11 interventions to help people break through, detox, nourish, and activate their body. And then the energy, mood, and love. So those are the 3 systems that are addressed in the book. So energy is the adrenal system, addressing fatigue. Mood is the brain, all about stress, nervous system. And then love is all about the heart. So those are the 3 systems that I felt like really had this connection in the body, not only the physical body, but the emotional and spiritual body. So the book really is about addressing your body in a way to break through an area of trauma or something you're really trying to work through. You're like, I've had this fatigue for, let's just give an example, like 10 years. You're like, nothing is helping me to break through. This is the book to help you break through and find those things that really tune into who you really are and who you want to be.
That is amazing. Okay, so the DNA part, so you have detox, nourish, and activate. How deep and detailed do you go into genetics and how we can create a personalized program for our own individual DNA?
Right. That's not a huge part of the book. Maybe that's be my next book. Yes. It kind of, so each section, each alchemical intervention. So there's 9 herbs in the book, one for each detox, nourish, and activate, and then the 3 systems. So let's say you're talking about heart activate. So it talks about how the herbs in that particular section of the book affect the cellular system. So each action or each part of the system, the herb or the aromatherapy or the other intervention, tells you how it affects your cells. So in your different worksheets throughout the book. So say, for instance, you're like, okay, it's called a photon wheel, where you have the interventions and you can put something in the middle of that. And you can say, like, you're wanting to work on letting go of trauma or letting go of grief. That's an easier one, right? So you can look through the book and find like, oh, this herb really resonates with me. It talks about how I can really finally let go of this grief that's been holding me back from my truer self. So from there, then you can really start to dive deeper into those cellular components by looking through the book. So it tells you like, this one is good for longevity, helping the telomeres be longer. This particular one is helping the body to detox through the liver. So through the book, it talks about the specific, more on a general level instead of like a program for the genetics.
Understood. Okay, so that's interesting. I want to know what your favorite chapter is in the book. And tell us a little snippet about that chapter.
Right. Yes. That's a good question. What's my favorite chapter? I think the brain chapter. No, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change it.
Like picking your favorite child,
I know.
your favorite baby.
I know. How can I pick? I would say the heart chapter, I think, is my favorite one, because this is an area, especially since the pandemic over the last 16 months, we've had so much heartache. We've had loss, we've had change, we've had shift in how we feel on the planet. Even, loved ones, patients, people leaving, all this different aspect. And I think that that's the real component when we're looking about the emotional aspect of how we can shift our health. When we get to the heart center, everything shifts, right? We come from the heart instead of the brain. It helps lead us on that correct path of health. So I would definitely say the heart is my favorite. The love section is just really wonderful.
Okay, interesting. My next question is, all right, you have this podcast, you have this book. Are you still like practicing as a
right. Like, how do I have time for practice, right? That's a great question.
Thick that book is. That book is very thick.
I know, right? Look at that. Yeah, yes. Well, that was one great blessing for me of the pandemic, is that I was able to write a book.
Yeah,
because everything was a little slower. Right. But yes, I'm still seeing patients for practice. I've been moving into creating a lot more programs to allow, because I only have a certain amount of time to see patients individually. So I'm creating more programs to allow these patients to have this wonderful healing aspect, but more in a community type of relationship, right? Where they can do it individually or working with me in a program level. And that's really elevated my practice, because then it also creates a learning perspective, which, docere is doctor as teacher. And that's one of my main foci as a naturopathic physician, is to empower my patients to learn about their health.
Interesting. Okay, so since you are creating programs, I heard about your genetic detox. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the genetic detox is awesome. I love it because it's simple, but patients have this transformation even just in the first week. They just feel totally different. So it addresses everything at a cellular level. You can add on genetic panels, but the basic program is just getting in there and helping your body to open up. We can, if you heard of the bucket method or the bucket philosophy, it's like your body is a big bucket, right? Everything goes into that bucket, clogging it up until we open the spigot and let things out, right? We can't have that detox and elimination. So you could think of that from that cellular component. We have all these kind of like, bad, not, I don't want to say bad cells that aren't serving us anymore, right? They're just in there and they haven't been able to leave the body because the body is in a toxic state. So when we open the body up, the body is clear. We have this clear pathway of thinking, emotions, spiritual, physical, and you start to be aware of what's not working. Like for instance, food elimination is a big part of the detox. So eliminating things that the top triggers like corn, sugar, dairy, the things. And when you eliminate those, you have such clarity about what's been bothering you. Like, oh yeah, no wonder I was constipated. I was eating gluten that I'm allergic to, and look how it's been affecting me. So it's really an eye-opening experience for helping people to really get in and figure out what's going on at that.
Okay, so how does this detox specifically help people with their genetics?
Yeah, great. So it's really, when we think about, I think genetics is like an overview term, but let's look at the epigenetics, which is really kind of what it's helped with, the core aspects. So our epigenetics is everything out around us that's affecting us. And right now we live in a more toxic environment. So let's say you have stress affecting you in a specific way. You are allergic to, let's say you have perfume, like a lot of people are sensitive to aromas, or let's say there's specific food toxins in the food, like GMOs, or the cleaners you're using in your house, etc. All these epigenetic factors affect the way that our DNA functions and works. So when we do a genetic detox program, it helps us to have our body be more in alignment with the DNA. Does that make sense? So it's like clearing our body so that the things outside of us are not affecting us so much, right? We have this ability to let go of the things that are bothering us. And I recommend doing some type of detox program every season. It doesn't have to be like a month. A genetic detox program is 3 weeks, but doing something where you're letting your body relax, right? You're letting your body open up and release those toxins. So I say every 3 months, do something at least like 3 days, or do something a little bit longer. So the genetic program gets the foundation for that. And then you can come back to it anytime and take components of it and do it in smaller amounts.
So, Dr. Lulu, a lot of my audience are women who are trying to get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
How could doing something like a genetic detox help them to boost fertility and prepare for
Ooh,
pregnancy?
yeah, that's a great question. So in regards to fertility, we want that those hormones, specifically in the female system, to be turned on, right? We want them to be activated. And when the body is in a toxic state, the body is tuning into those toxins and it's not allowing the rest of the body to function at normal level, right? It's like that volume has been really turned down. So in regards to fertility, we want to have everything clear and open so that the ovaries are working well, the uterus is working well, the hormones between the pituitary gland and the thyroid and the adrenal system are communicating, right? So it's like when you're in a toxic state, you have communication breakdown. So once those are open up, all the fertility messages, right, are then turned on at this higher volume to allow things to start opening up. And the emotional component is key for fertility, right? We focus on something that's not happening. We have to let that go for it to come in a way that our body can fertilize it.
And you know what, Dr. Lulu, I really like your book as well for women that are trying to get pregnant, because a lot of women that come across my content are women that have had traumatic situations, whether that be they were raped when they were younger, or maybe they've had recurrent miscarriages, or maybe a stillbirth.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that trauma or that stigma from other people where they're like, why haven't you had a baby yet? And they've been married for a
Mm-hmm.
long time, or they've been in a relationship for a long time. So I like how in your book you specifically say there's a 3-step system that's designed to heal trauma at the core level from this lifetime and many previous generations. So not only the baggage that we grew up with, but also the things that have been happening while trying to conceive. So I think that your book is actually a good option as well for women that are trying to conceive as well.
Oh, 100%. And there's a whole chapter on trauma. And, until we address the trauma, the trauma is like in a suitcase on the shelf, right? It's like, oh, maybe I had, like you said, maybe I had this occurrence of rape that happened, but we put it on the shelf because it's so hard for us to deal with, so traumatic. And so we talk about that in the book as a way to like recognize the trauma and deal with it in a completely different way at that cellular level by detoxing, letting it go, nourishing, having that love, that self-love, activating that new place of trauma, right? We have to break that old trauma loop and create a new one of self-love.
Oh, that's amazing. So where can we find your book?
That's a great question, Dr. Vita. You can go to my website, doclulu.com. Super easy. It's like, what's up, doc? You can find it there right on my website. You can just go to DNA book. It's right there. You can also find me on Amazon too. If you just put in Dr. LuLu, it'll come right up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for your genetic detox program, you're also giving my listeners $50 off. That's
Yay.
amazing.
Yes.
Coupon code Dr. Vita 50. So DRVITA 50. You can also go on doclulu.com, correct? And then you can see the genetic detox program there as well. All right.
Yep. It's all there.
A few closing thoughts, Dr. Lulu. I want to ask you, if somebody wants to start delving into working with herbs, what should they do? Should they take a course? Should they just get their feet wet? What should they do?
Yeah, I think if someone's wanting to learn more about herbs to enrich themselves and use it with their community and friends and family, I think taking a small course, and I have lots of things like that I teach with the veterans, and you can go to my YouTube channel and watch them. They're on my website too. But I think, there's so many herbs. It's like, there's a massive amount, and you want to be able to understand how they work, what systems to use them for. So just the basics, right? You can use my book. There's lots of herbal knowledge in there, but taking some small course, I think, is really key, because then you're going to learn like what part of the herbs are exciting to you. Like we talked about using tinctures. You want to make an infusion. You want to use a tincture. How do you do that? What herb should you use? So yeah, a small mini course to see if it's something that resonates with you, especially in regards to women's health and fertility. I mean, that's our biggest herbal, box or category. We have so many for women's health.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Any closing thoughts, Dr. Lulu?
I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Vita, for having me on today and letting me share and have fun talking to you about my book and genetics. And I wish all of your listeners out there that are working with fertility that they are able to have a little spark of knowledge from today's YouTube chat that helps them to tune into some ways to help that fertility be ignited within each of them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lulu. Well, you have heard it. I want you to check out Dr. Lulu. I'll have all of the links in the description below. You can check her out on Instagram. You can go on her website. You can listen to her podcast, The Genetic Genius, read her book. You can also check out the Genetic Detox program. And don't forget, at $50 off, Dr. Vita 50. I'm so glad that you joined us today. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. Remember, comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.